All right. Our Monday morning edition of Faces of First Atlanta, here with Miss Jeni Thomas. How are you?
I'm great.
Jeni with one N and an I, right?
Right? Like Jeni's ice cream.
Okay, there you go. All right, well, perfect. Well, let's jump into it. Excited to sit here and interview with you. You are obviously an ALC member and an outstanding person here at First Atlanta, but you're also a part of a team who I've actually interviewed David Lewis before. So it's kind of an interesting blend, and I'm sure we'll jump into that. But help us learn who Jeni is. So what's kind of your story?
Okay.
Yeah.
My name is Jeni Thomas. First and foremost, I am an agent with First Atlanta. I am the director of sales for the Lewis Group with David Lewis, our team leader. And I am an agent partner. So what that means is I can do both listings and buyers. So I'm really excited about that.
We'll get to all that. We'll get to all that.
I started in real estate in 2013.
We'll get to all that.
Okay.
Tell me, where'd you grow up and all that stuff?
I grew up in Lawrenceville, Georgia. My parents still live there.
All right.
They've been in the house about 30 plus years now. And
I'm assuming it's paid for at this point.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, okay. So you grew up in Lawrenceville.
Yes.
Then what?
I played tennis all my life, so that was part of like a big deal of who I am. And I used to spend 4 to 5 hours on the tennis court like all the time.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And I ended up playing all across the Southeast. I played tennis at Kennesaw State University, and then ended up at a military college for whatever reason.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which college?
North Georgia College and State University.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So then, were you a singles tennis player or a doubles?
More singles.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was waiting to draw a correlation from doubles and being on a team, but I missed that.
No,
it's okay. It's all good.
I mean, it's true. I mean, when I talk to David a lot about this, real estate teams are a lot like tennis teams.
Yeah.
Where your individual success determines the team's success. So it's really important for like line 1 through 5 and the doubles as well to do well, because accumulation of all the individuals and the doubles teams winning means a win for the team.
Well, what I'm hearing you say is each individual's success plays the role in the team success, meaning everybody's just as important. Yes. Everybody has a role. And winning is a team effort, right?
Yes.
Okay, so are you a little competitive?
Extremely.
Okay.
I'm an extremely competitive person.
So how successful were you at tennis?
I was top 20 in the state of Georgia for 18 and under, and played Division I tennis with Kennesaw State the first year they went into the Sun Belt Conference. Yeah.
So,
but I have to be real with you. It was more so like target practice for the other girls to me, because these are women that were bred to play tennis. They were in South Africa. They were in France. I mean, these are girls from all over the world. And I'm telling you, one time this girl did a swinging volley at the net and hit me in the neck. Yeah. And I couldn't speak for 3 days.
Really?
Yeah.
So target practice, meaning they were just...
Yeah. They were just wailing at me.
All right. So hang on though. So what does bred for tennis mean?
So I'm short and petite, and these women were tall and Amazon women. They were amazing. They were like Serena Williams, Venus Williams.
Okay. So a little more physical.
Yeah.
Physically fit.
Yes. They had longer
some
arms.
Height.
They had longer arms.
I got it. Yeah. I played basketball and I'm tall, so I get the whole thing. So you were the underdog.
Yeah, I had to work a little harder.
Okay, tell me about that.
Well, I spent a lot more time on the court getting fast, and had to work on my serve a lot, because they were hitting serves at 102 miles an hour, and I had to do it. Mine was inching into 90 miles an hour, and I was just so short I didn't have the reach. So I had to work on spins. I had to work on different approaches to get a little bit more of a strategic upper hand, if you will.
Yeah. So you worked in your strength zone. You worked in your talents.
Yes.
And you understood your weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
and you work strategically to overcome those.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
And so it takes you to college, this military college. Come on, what was the dream?
The dream, well, honestly, I didn't have a click in my brain that school was important until I went to the military college.
Okay.
I met my mentor. Her name was Kelly Cricky, and she is now the MBA director at North Georgia.
Okay.
And she introduced to me a different world where, yes, you can use your brain. You can be amazing. You can be a great friend. You can be a great daughter. And that was the click for me. That was the dream, was to get a higher education.
So get a higher education. And she was your first big mentor?
She was, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So what did you learn from her outside of use your brain?
I think I just woke up. I think it was just a time when I was just moving through the motions. Like, I'm just going to get the boyfriend. I'm going to get married and have the 2 kids on the hip by the time I'm 25. And I think that I was around a lot of really strong women as I was growing up. And they were pushing me to do more, to be more. And I really didn't hear it until I heard it from Kelly.
Okay.
And Kelly kind of clicked in my mind, like, what if you tried this? And went into operations management and my business degree. And I started presenting. I started getting really good at talking with other people about the things that we were interested in. And I find my strength in that. I find my strength in front of people. So it was then that it clicked, and I was getting straight A's. It was a couple internships, and then
you had the passion.
I had the passion to learn. I think that's what it was.
So you were living this life of a prescribed, or a prescribed life, or I don't want to call it the stereotype, but the predetermined is probably a better way to say it, right?
That's true. And I felt like a dumb jock for a long time until I actually said, oh, I can use my brain for other things, because I know this tennis thing is not going to work out.
Got it. So this power of mentor in your life, right? So are there other like monumental moments in your journey in life where somebody believed in you more than you believed in yourself?
Oh, yeah. I mean, absolutely, hands down, my parents, like, they're my best friends. And it was through college, through high school, through all the years of tennis that they continually showed up, and they still do, even with the business now.
Yeah, of course.
It was really cool.
Okay, so you decide to go for this higher education.
Yeah.
What's the dream?
The dream is to help as many people as I can. And I don't know what that looks like. Right now, it looks like real estate. It looks like helping the people on my team. It's just help.
Okay, so at the time, that was the dream, and it's still the dream today. Yeah. So I call that a leadership DNA, in a sense. And no wonder you're on the Agent Leadership Council, right? So when we subscribe to a moment in life where we decide to live our lives for other people and help other people, it pulls you to that leadership, right?
Yeah. Gosh, yes. I heard, I guess, someone talk about Mo Anderson one time, and they said that she was the definition of a servant heart.
Okay.
And I felt really akin to that. But also I was listening to John Maxwell at the time, and he was saying that everything worthwhile is uphill. So when he talks about everything worthwhile is uphill, it is a matter of putting your goal at the top, not the goal at the top of the hill, but the dream at the top of the hill.
Yeah.
And then the goals along the way, because it's not going to be just hit the goal and then what? It's hit the goal and then some. So for me, I connected with that about 2 years ago, and David Lewis introduced the class to me, the John Maxwell leadership class. And I took that to heart, and I think during that time I was going through a really tough financial spot. I was in a lot of debt. I wanted to get out of it, and I knew that if I could help enough people, I could hit those goals along the way. But I didn't have that big vision until I actually learned a little bit more about Mo Anderson and John Maxwell.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So in a way, they were mentors too.
Yes.
And they may not have a personal relationship with them.
Yes. Yeah.
But they poured into you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So at what point did you go into real estate right out of school, or did you? Is there something in between?
Yeah, something in between. I actually worked for a geotextile manufacturing facility.
What?
Yes. It is a geotextile manufacturing facility.
Okay.
And it was located in North Georgia. and I was an account manager for military and military supply drop parachute material. So they were creating these parachutes for military supply drops and also humanitarian supply drops too. So it was a lot of military accounts and contracting accounts. And also, you know, those films on top of, what are they called? The flower nurseries, like flower nurseries.
Yeah.
So that film that actually goes on top of it that determines the opacity of all the light, that's what I would sell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, was that the dream?
No.
Like, were you recruited into that?
Somewhat, yeah. I saw it on a job posting at North Georgia and decided to go for it.
Yeah.
At that point, I thought that operations management was the way to go. It was a lot of moving parts, and I thought it was fascinating. So I decided to work there for 3 years, and then decided to get my MBA after that.
Yeah.
And I told my boss, sayonara, I'm leaving. He said, thank God, go. Like, you need to go back into Atlanta.
Yeah.
I was in Gainesville at the time.
Yep.
And being young and single, he was like, you need to move on with your life. You don't need to be up here.
So up at the top of the lake, and now we're going to the city.
City, right.
Yeah.
So got the blessing and started the MBA. And then I needed some cash while I was going through this.
Yeah.
So I decided to work with a real estate agent who was at another market center for Keller Williams at the time. And I was an assistant for a long time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you actually got your in the real estate industry on working on a team as an assistant.
Yes. So
okay.
I have a really, I guess not unlike a lot of real estate agents who understand the back office very well. It was a matter of understanding the admin side and getting the communication down. And then I became a transaction coordinator. And then I became a buyer's agent and then moved on to a listing agent.
Got it.
Yeah.
So you've really literally worked your way up the ladder.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right. So what year did you get licensed?
2013.
Okay. So you've been licensed 7 years.
Yes.
Had to do the math in my head there for a second. So 7 years. At what point did you do sales?
It was at the end of 2013, I was dipping my toes in as a buyer's agent on that team.
Yeah.
And then decided, let's go full force. So I think 2014 was my first full year.
Okay. So, and how'd you do?
Made $5,000.
Your first full year?
Yes.
Okay. So then obviously not the rookie of the year story, right?
No, absolutely not.
So I'm seeing this underdog theme show up in your life a couple of times, right? So here you are, going to school, working part-time in the real estate industry, and dipping your toe in the water, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then at what point did it just all click?
Well, I have to keep in mind, in 2014 to 15, I was still doing full-time MBA school.
Okay.
And so 15, 16, I think 16 to 17 is when it really clicked for me.
Good.
And my first big year was 2017.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you say clicked, what's that mean?
I think the John Maxwell thing, I think something clicked in me in the sense that I was in some pretty massive debt at that time.
Okay.
And I knew that I needed to do something. I just didn't know what it was. And I went to David and I was like, look, man, I'm either getting out of real estate and going to fix this and make my life better, or I need to come up with a plan. You're going
to go get a real job.
Go get a real job.
Yeah.
And I think at the time, and it's funny, we were talking about my folks earlier, they said, well, why don't you put in a deadline and put a plan in place? And David and I came up with a plan. My dad and I met every other Sunday, and we went through my numbers. And my dad was a lot like my business coach. David was like my business coach. And between the two of them, I was able to climb myself out of $50,000 of debt within a year. And it just clicked, like something just clicked. It was
the underdog story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a couple things I'm hearing in your story is the power of mentorship's big in your life. It shows up in a couple different places. But at this moment in the story, obviously David was a mentor to you on how to make money in real estate.
Right.
Your father was a mentor to you on how to manage your money and get your life forward.
Yes.
But I also heard you say you had a plan.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yep. Had a plan. We broke down where I was, where I needed to be, what the delta was, and we figured out what are the actions I need to do in order to get to that point.
What are maybe two of the points that were in that plan?
Yeah, so I needed to make X amount of dollars in order to cover not only my bills that I had cut. So there was like a plan of cutting the budget.
Yeah.
So I had to move in with my brother at the time. And so we cut the budget, and I went from expenses being 100%, and then I actually cut my expenses by a good 50 to 60%.
Yeah.
And so that was one of them. And the second one was, how many people do I need to talk to in order to hit my real estate goals and to make the amount of money to cover the budget?
Okay.
And for me at the time, it was 20 people a day.
I've heard that number a couple times.
Have you?
Yeah. It might be what they tell you to do in bold.
Yes.
So here's what's interesting. It's almost like you took the shift book and applied it to your life.
I did. Yeah.
And so we joke and for some reason the shift has a negative connotation around that word, but we all have moments in life where we're not all flowers and roses, right?
Right.
And you got to find the discipline to get through the tough times. And you did that, and you had great mentorship, and you had a plan, and you executed that plan.
Yeah.
And how cool, or tell me about the experience of on the other side of that.
Grateful.
Okay.
Extremely grateful. I know that for me, this was not an easy journey. My relationship with money was not good between my college years and even through 2016, 17. And that was only a matter of, that was a decade. And I look back and I think, God, what could I have done with a decade that I could have just run to the conversation with myself and said, listen, Jen, you need to get your relationship right with the money and the business before earning the right to move forward with the things that you want to do for other people.
You know, you think about it, it's interesting perspective. You think about it as if you lost a decade, right?
Well, now I did.
But hang on, there's a lot of people that don't learn that lesson until late in life.
Yeah, that's
right?
true.
So you actually might have gained a decade by learning it early in life. And so what advice would you have for anybody that might be struggling with debt or trying to find their way forward in troubling times?
That's a really good one. If I could say that to at least one person, I would say run to the conversation with yourself.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds like a marketing message, but tell me what that means.
That means get real with your numbers. Look at your budget. Look at what you're actually spending, not what you think you're spending. But I want you to print out your credit card pieces, your statements, look at your debits, look at your credits. I want you to see what you're coming in with and what you're spending and getting out with. So every month, if you're looking at 3 months in arrears, look at a pattern. Are you spending way too much money? Are you spending $300 more on food and going out than you really should? And oh, by the way, during COVID, you should be eating in more, by the way. And that should be helping with costs too.
Yeah.
I definitely think that looking at your 3 months in arrears of statements and analyzing it would be extremely beneficial.
Gotcha. So I want to hear about your high point and your low point in real estate. So I think the low point probably makes sense here in the context of the conversation. So let's start with that and then bring me to your high point.
Cool. I think it was in the same day. It was my low point and my high point.
Okay, well, hit me. I want to hear it.
Yeah. We talked about this earlier, and it reminded me that the day that I learned that everything was uphill, everything worthwhile is uphill, that was my low point when I went to my dad, I went to David and said, I need help.
Yeah.
And then it was in the same, I have to say it was either a day or two after each other. And then it was a high point of, oh, this clicks. And it was everything worthwhile is uphill. All conversations need to be run to right now. I need to talk with my clients. I need to talk with my past people. I need to talk with myself. And for me, I needed to talk with God, and I needed to make sure that it was right in my heart and my soul to move forward with this plan. And it just happened.
Got it.
Yep.
So your best day was on the other side of after you had the conversation.
Yes.
Your worst day was, oh man, I gotta go have these conversations.
Yes, yes. It was painful, but it needed to happen.
So if you were gonna write a book or give a TED Talk, what would yours be about?
Honestly, I think the common theme is just run to any conversation that you need to have. Okay. There's no reason why we need to carry the monkey on our back, carry this icky feeling, or make stories up in our heads. Like, if we don't know the facts, there's no reason why we should believe that it is the way that it is. Run to the conversation and know that what you're making up in your head may or may not be true. And that relieves you and frees you from whatever you're making up in your head. So running to the conversation is my biggest thing.
Yeah. It's a little bit like fierce conversations, yes. Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the conversation is the relationship, right?
Yep.
So, and I understand you're engaged, right?
I am.
Yeah. So God bless him, right?
I'm kidding. Well, you know what's funny is that he actually got his degree in marriage counseling. So God bless me.
Oh, there you go. All right. Well, is there anything in your story we could learn from? I mean, I've learned a lot just hearing what you've talked about. I know you're an underdog. I know you're competitive. You know how to use your strengths to strategically and position yourself away from your weaknesses, right? Mentors is a big thing, and you understand how to shift-proof your life. What else am I missing?
Ooh, I'm a big softie. I cry at everything.
Okay.
That's about it.
All right. Well, I just want to tell you, thank you so much for sharing today. Thank you for serving and just letting us learn from you. It's quite impressive. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much. Right. I appreciate it.
Thank you.